How's it going, everybody? This is Carl at KP Tuning. Today I'm going to try to give you some more torque converter insight. In the past I've made a post trying to explain how torque converters can play games with you on the dyno, kind of lie to you, skew the numbers, make things look kind of funny. Sometimes people get entirely too wrapped up in the dyno numbers. Today what I'm going to try to show you is why a lot of the cars, when I'm done tuning them, they leave with unlocked torque converters in cars equipped with lockable torque converters. I'm going to flip the phone around and give you a quick little insight of a tale of two worlds, depending on how you want to look at this. So right now, what you're looking at is a graph over RPM, torque and horsepower. And the red one is the unlocked torque converter. The blue one is the locked torque converter. Now, strictly looking at numbers over RPM, you would sit here and think that the locked torque converter is 110% the way to go. But I'm here to tell you that a lot of times having a locked torque converter the entire time is only going to hurt you. And I will try to explain that after I remove the name here. All right, so I'm gonna change this scaling and put it over speed and watch what happens. Let's first remove torque. The whole time, locked torque converter is well above unlocked torque converter as far as what it shows. I'll start giving you some points where you can do the math. Take a look at it. It's about 26 horsepower, 4,500. It's about 18 horsepower. Now let's put it over speed. By the way, this is an all-motor car that runs nitrous. I guess it's not all-motor, but these runs its own motor. Now that we switch it to speed, holy cow. When the torque converter flashes, which is what it's meant to do when you have an aftermarket torque converter, it gets you directly into your power band at speed. So at 60 miles an hour, let me move this over just a little bit. You're talking 100, what is that? Almost 120 more wheel horsepower at 60 miles an hour you have with an unlocked torque converter versus locked. That is wild. At 70 miles an hour, you have 50, about 75. 80 miles an hour. It just, slowly starts to lose the gains as the RPMs come up, as the torque starts to drop. And then out here is where you might find it advantageous to lock the torque converter. Sometimes it's still not enough of a gain to really make it worth it, depending on your application. So let's bring in the torque instead of horsepower. Torque, when you're first hitting it and you're starting off, you're talking almost 60 wheel torque more. And obviously, right around here is where the locked torque converter starts to take over. Let's see where that is, RPM wise. Let's get rid of torque. Oh, let's get rid of horsepower again. So what you're looking at here is huge gains in horsepower and good bit of gains in torque. until a particular mile-an-hour speed. When you're at the track, everything is about getting as much horsepower to the tire as long as possible. So the way I handle it is unlocking the torque converter. Yes, there is some slip and you do have some losses due to the unlocked torque converter, but at the end of the day, if you ask me, it's a lot better to have it unlocked and test it and see how it does, and maybe lock it out here for the very minimal gains that you get, than it is just to go out and have it locked because it shows a better horsepower number. It's not going to be faster. I'm going to turn the phone around again. I'm going to bring up a turbo vehicle and show you the same situation. This is a lot of the reasons why you may have heard people say I put a torque converter in my car and picked up huge at the track. Well, it's not like it's that much lighter than a factory one. It's all got the factor to do with that. It puts you into your peak torque and a good part of your power for longer periods of the run. And that's what everybody wants to do. Everybody wants to go faster. All right, 1 second here. 4 and 8. All right, so these names out of the way. Once again, let's get rid of the torque. None. There's a turbo car. You smash it with the torque converter unlocked. Well, actually, no, let's go back to RPM. A lot of people look at it. All right, here we go. Red versus blue. Blue is unlocked. Red is locked. And holy cow, doesn't that look terrible? Like, that just looks like you want the converter locked all the time. Like, why would you ever want it unlocked? You'd be silly. Well, let's put this over speed. You might want it unlocked for all these gains right in here. 200 wheel horsepower at 70 miles an hour. That's huge. Absolutely huge. Sorry, I'm not good at videoing and doing this stuff. It's not my thing. Torque right there, about 40, so that's 60, 80 wheel torque right there, and then it starts to take over without a doubt as far as the torque goes. There's the engine power. There we go. So somewhere in there you would want somewhere between about here, which is 75 miles an hour, and about 90 miles an hour. You would probably want to lock the torque converter on this particular application. But you definitely wouldn't want it locked the entire time, because you'd be missing out on all this down here. All this fun. So I hope that helps explain some of the reasons why I do some of the things I do, and why that's just how I've come to find things. That's how things seem to work pretty well for me. You may have different experiences, you may find different things, but at the end of the day, you know, trying it at the track is what's going to tell you. And I find a lot of times that the unlocked torque converter is just going to work well for getting ET to a point. If you have a torque converter that you can lock up and is safe to lock up, it's something you'll want to start playing with at the track and see if it actually picks up time. Also, another benefit to unlocking the torque converter is a lot of times it's easier on parts depending on how hard you're pushing your setup. Locking a torque converter is like a stick shift car, put a lot of load down at a very low RPM. It's just hard on parts. Well, hope somebody's learned something. I hope that was worth something. I'm terrible at videos, so if this helps, let me know. If it doesn't, I'll never do it again. Hope everybody has a good day. Thanks.